Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Rose Code podcast, where we gather to journey through the sacred cycles of life, turning pain into power and wounds into wisdom. I'm Katie, your spiritual guide and mentor, here to support you on your healing and wellness path. Together, we'll explore deep, transformative practices that awaken the divine feminine, helping you reclaim your power and thrive. Every month, we come together for our live moon ritual, celebrating the new and full moon with sacred ceremonies. Be sure to check the details below to join next month's ritual and immerse yourself in yoga, meditation, divine feminine activations, and our vibrant community calls. Let's dive in and transform together. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another podcast. I'm Katie, your spiritual guide and mentor, here to support you in your healing wellness journey, turning pain into power and wounds into wisdom, and reawakening the divine feminine. So today's podcast was inspired by many conversations with fellow soul sisters who are healers and facilitators, and also concerning conversations with clients. And I really feel that the more knowledge and awareness we have, the more empowered we become. And hopefully, by listening to this podcast, it might safeguard you or somebody you know in the future from entering into these unsafe spaces or putting yourself in situations where aren't so favorable. And perhaps if I had this information or awareness at the beginning of my journey, it would have safeguarded me too. But if we don't make mistakes, how can we learn from them? And I truly believe that everything that happens in our life is pre-orchestrated, and it is put on our path to not dishearten or harm us, but to inspire and empower us and to make us stronger physically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually. But that's not to say that things happen and people get hurt and people get disempowered and live in fear when it was the opposite they were searching for. So the title of today's podcast is Heart-Centered Power: Discernment, Integrity, and Spiritual Leadership. So grab a cup of tea, make yourself cozy, and let's dive right in. So in this episode, we're going to explore, and apologies for the nasally sounds, but I'm recovering from a long cold, flu, whatever you want to call it. I think everybody at this time of year has been hit by some sort of bug or virus. So thankfully I'm coming out the other end. But yeah, I just, as I said, felt so called to share this. But we're going to explore the intersections of discernment, integrity, and spirituality and heart-centered leadership. And as mentors and spiritual guides, healers, massage therapists, facilitators, anybody that deals with anybody else's vulnerabilities, pain, and trauma, it is vital to lead with love and to maintain healthy boundaries and avoid giving away our power. So we'll uncover how to anchor ourselves in authenticity and create a leadership model that uplifts others while staying aligned with our truth. So some key themes we're going to explore is discernment in leadership. So the art of discerning what aligns with your values and purpose, because if you do not have values and purpose, things become very grey, very watered down, very uncertain. And how to honor your intuitive knowing to make empowered decisions. The second theme we're going to explore then is integrity as a spiritual practice. So living and leading authentically and ensuring your words and actions reflect your truth. And the ripple effect of operating from a place of inner alignment on your clients and community. The third theme is boundaries that empower, not divide. So setting healthy boundaries that protect your energy while respecting others. And reclaiming your power by saying no from a place of love and self-respect. The fourth concept is heart-centered leadership. So leading with compassion without overextending yourself and creating space for others to rise while maintaining your own energetic sovereignty. And lastly then, spirituality rooted in self-empowerment. How to share wisdom without creating dependency and empowering others to trust their own spiritual journey and intuition. So, as I always say to anybody that joins my podcasts, like you here, workshops, retreats, one-to-one sessions, is that everything that I say, take with a pinch of salt. If it resonates, amazing. If you question it, please question it and have an air of curiosity. And you make up your own mind. What feels true for you may not be the truth for me. And nobody really knows what the truth is, but you will feel it within yourself, what is right for you and what is not right for you. But we have been trained from a very young age to deny that discernment and to be disconnected from our truth and to follow others. And we have this inner guidance and this inner compass. So we need to retrain ourselves to get back online with that energy once again, because the age of the guru is collapsing. Thank the Lord, because it has, as you've probably seen, that having this hierarchy or having these gurus or these leaders have led people off the cliff, and their power has been used to take advantage of vulnerable people seeking support and seeking answers. And that has been completely misused and abused. So becoming your own guru is absolutely vital. So I want you to reflect on this for a moment. Where in your life are you giving away your power, and how can you reclaim it? And how can you create boundaries that honor both yourself and others? And what does heart-centered integrity mean to you? And how can you embody it in your leadership? And whether you are a healer, well, we're all healers, but whether you're self-employed or you're a practitioner of any sorts, we are all leaders in our own right. There's always, oh, let me come back and find my words. There's always somebody who looks up to us and we look up to somebody else. So everybody is in their own right a leader. So why does this matter? Because in a world that often blurs the lines between service and self-sacrifice, this is really a call to realign with your heart, to strengthen your boundaries, and to lead with integrity. And by doing so, you uplift not only yourself, but also those you guide, creating a sacred and safe space for true transformation. So, like I said, I was really inspired to share this because lately so many clients have come to me really concerned with things that have been said to them through these quote unquote healers or practitioners or therapists or anyone that they've went to find answers or solace. And, some clients have come back to me, say that they had tarot reading or a card reading that inevitably left them even more fearful of the future due to sickness or accidents, or concerned about a loved one. And like, when we, as practitioners and facilitators, intentionally instill fear in somebody who's already vulnerable, it's so misaligned and it's so wrong on so many levels. And when I teach Reiki training, it's like, choose your words wisely. Yes, be transparent and authentic and truthful, but ask, does this person need to know this detail? Especially if it's something to do with illness or an accident, or something that's going to spiral them into more despair or more fearful energy. And it's not that you are withholding information, but you have to ask, is this information for me, or do I need to share it with this person? And if you're getting mixed answers, it's really, really important to sit with that information. And I often say, if it didn't come out of my mouth there and then, well, it wasn't meant to be. And, this is the level of responsibility that we have as facilitators, practitioners, healers, therapists, that our words can ultimately make or break somebody, empower them, or completely shatter them. So we have to be very discerning and integral and really uphold this heart-centered way, because people are vulnerable and people are hanging on for dear life for answers and guidance. And it's really, really important that we empower them and help them along their journey rather than hindering. And, a lot of people are afraid to step away from their therapist, or afraid to step away from their guide or mentor, because they haven't been given the tools to go it alone. And yes, there are times where you need to walk hand in hand with your client or student for a period of time. But as you're walking with them, you're educating, you're giving them the knowledge, you're passing down what you've learned and what has supported you on your journey to support them as they take off the training wheels and are able to go it alone, knowing that they can always come back to you at any time, but also knowing that I can do this myself. And if I need the help, I know who to go to. And that's very empowering. And there's a sense of community and camaraderie there as well, knowing that I have a community, I have a place, I have like-minded people that I can go to. So with that said, we're going to explore some red flags to look out for in the spiritual spaces, and misleading practices to creating dependency and crossing borders or boundaries and borders. So hopefully this will empower you to protect your own energy, because your energy is so sacred. Your energy is not for everybody, and it's certainly not for sharing with everybody, and not everybody's entitled to be in your energy. And I can't tell you who or who isn't right for you. You have to make those discerning choices yourself and align yourself with mentors, people, and circles who you feel really honor your growth and integrity. So let's cover the first red flag. And remember, this is just my opinion, my experience. Perhaps you've had a totally different experience along your journey with spiritual leaders or facilitators or mentors or therapists. So if that's the case, let's share. Let me know in the comments how it's been for you. But, when I posted on Instagram about these insights and this chatter that's been going on around spirituality and integrity and discernment, you all wanted to know what I had to share, or what was coming to the surface. So it might be a bit controversial, and obviously I would never disclose anyone's names or informations or any indication of who or what I'm talking about. But, I really feel that we have to wake up to the fact that it is not all love and light. And just because something is spiritual or esoteric or crystal based or like rose, or have these beautiful enlightened names after them, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily good, or it doesn't mean that there's integrity. And the age that we're in, it's very easy to hide behind an Instagram post or a blog or an email, or call yourself something that you haven't even trained or you know worked your way up to that achievement to be such and such a facilitator. Because, this work is not really regulated. So it's really important that we can see the wood from the trees and use our heart and our inner guidance to say, is this person really and truly saying what they are? Are they walking the talk, or are they just very good at talking the talk? Because I've said it before, there are many cowboys and many uneducated people that just are very brave and courageous. And yeah, I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I like to have deep, deep education and experience and really do the work before I share it with my clients, and open them up to different experiences within themselves, and make sure that I am capable of holding space for whatever arises within them. Because this is not baby stuff here. Like, we're working with people's trauma, we're working with deep-seated emotions. Like, so you have to be well educated and experienced to hold space for these people, and also hold space for yourself as a facilitator. So, sorry, I got derailed there. I digress. So the first key flag, as you can see, I'm very passionate about this because I've just had some wild experiences on my journey, and the amount of wild experience that clients have been telling me lately, and other sisters that have been sharing their stories as well. I'm like, this needs to be shared. So our first red flag is creating dependency. So this encourages a dynamic where you feel you cannot move forward without their input, or without consulting, whoever it is that you are under the care of. Now, to a certain degree, yes, it's always good to ask, but when you feel that, like, this person knows better than me with every decision, then you're like, okay, is this person empowering me or disempowering me? And there could be signs that they are withholding tools or information to keep you reliant on them. So I've seen this in spaces before where people keep getting re-traumatized and re-triggered, and like always in a process of healing. I'm like, always being in a process of healing is absolutely exhausting. And also creating this mentality that you're broken in some way, or that you'll never be healed. And, we're perfectly imperfect while we're in this human existence, but there's also times to step away from healing and just go and live your life and enjoy life. And then when something else arises, go into that, but always be in this perpetual cycle of healing all the time. One, they're probably just milking you for everything that you have, and you're going to be a constant client. Whereas, yes, people can be clients for a lifetime and forever, but if they're coming to see you every week, 365 days a year, there has to be something there to be adhered to, because you need to be able to step away and to step off that healing train for a while and go and enjoy life and, you know, relish in the fruits of your labor of what you have healed and how far you have come. And then, like I said, when something else arises, address that. So the second red flag then is crossing client-friend boundaries. So overstepping professional boundaries and blurring the lines between guide and friend. Now, if you're a client or student of mine, you know that we always greet with a hug, you know, there's always that environment and air of relaxation and, you know, very intimate conversations and spaces, but there will be clear boundaries there. And, you know, again, I've seen it before where this boundary can be non-existent and things become weird and strange. And if anything like that has ever happened to you and you felt uncomfortable, a boundary has been crossed or there was no boundary there in the first place. So it's very, very important that that professional ethic is there between client and student or client and facilitator. Or sharing overly personal details or engaging in inappropriate relationships. So, you know, if a facilitator or a guide is sharing openly about another client, names included, about situations or things that are happening, that for me is a massive red flag. And you can be sure that if they're sharing that information about that person, that your information is also being divulged. So, you know, again, ethics here is really, really important. The third one then is vague treatment plans and lack of support. So there has to be a beginning, middle, and end, because in our minds we were like, okay, this is where I have to start and this is where I'm going, and you know, this will be the light at the end of the tunnel. So if they're offering unclear or non-specific approaches to healing without measurable goals, are failing to provide a solid structure for treatment or undefined end goal for your journey. And again, like I said, it's a bit of a clause to keep you in this perpetual cycle of healing that, oh, so we've done this, now we have to do that. It was like, oh, I wasn't aware of that in the beginning. So look for transparency, look for a plan, look for a structure. And if it's not there, is that something that you want to commit to? The next one then is creating fear or hierarchy. So using fear-based tactics or promoting an us versus them mentality to establish control. So again, you know, oh, we're different to everybody else, or, you know, what we do is the greatest training or program, or, you know, what they say is wrong and what we say is right. You know, all of this kind of very black and white mentality. We're all right in our own minds, and there is truth in everything. But, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. Go home and sit with it. And if that's true for you, amazing. If it sits right with you, again, this is just my experience and my perspective and my view. But really don't put all of your eggs in one basket and believe everything you're told. You have to make up your own mind. And like I said, with clients and students in the past that have been told about illnesses and accidents and family members being in trouble, it's like nobody can actually tell you for certain that X, Y, and Z is going to happen. And if they are promising or telling you that's true, again, take that with a pinch of salt, because nobody truly knows. And again, you have to use your own discernment. And if they're instilling fear, that's not coming from a heart-centered place. Caution, yes, but instilling fear, that doesn't wash well for me. And imposing a sense of superiority over clients or students. So, you know, I always say to my students, like, we're all Reiki masters. It's just some of us have more clinic experience than others. And it's like, this is how we support each other, is by sharing the information, sharing the wisdom, sharing the experience, so that we can all grow together. No one's better than anybody else. Absolutely not. We all have the same abilities and capabilities, but we just have to believe in ourselves. And I've been in trainings before, and it's shocked me of how, that sense of hierarchy or superiority can take place. And yes, many people have spent a lot of money and a lot of time mastering, but they can use that as like a badge of honor and make out that no one will ever be as good as them. And that's not the case, because we are all one. It's this sense of oneness, not I against you. We all need to work together. And I've mentioned this already, but withholding information. So deliberately not sharing key insights, tools, or techniques to maintain a power dynamic. So, in Reiki, there's 3 levels. Level 1 is self-Reiki, self-healing. Level 2, then you become a practitioner, and level 3, you become a master and you can attune others, which I think is sensible, because there's time and integration and experience that needs to be had before somebody is ready to hold space for others coming into this realm or world of energy. But, I've seen these tiers being taken advantage of, or these levels being taken advantage of, and people's growth stunted because, people are withholding information, or, blurring the lines of the ethics to suit themselves. And again, this happens all of the time. So it's just to be wary about that. And then the opposite, then, number 6, is flattery and hidden motives. So have you ever been told how special you are, or different you are compared to the others? And this is to manipulate trust, to create this kind of false bond, and yes, it is true. We are all special and we are all different, but nobody's better than anybody else. And again, there's people there that have very powerful ways of convincing people to think in alignment to how they want you to be, and to look to them for gratification and to make them feel better, or to make you feel better. And it's just this, again, perpetual cycle of, false ego and false light and false spirituality. Again, sometimes it can be too sweet, and use your own discernment at those times. Number 7 then is speaking poorly about others. So talking negatively about other clients, students, or peers, often revealing intimate details. And we've all been there, we've all gossiped or bitched or whatever, but again, where is your professional discernment and ethics? And, if the shoe was on the other foot, how would you feel if your personal information was being shared with strangers, or even worse, people that you knew? And you can be sure that the confidentiality that's being broken, your information is probably being shared unethically as well. So perhaps these red flags have been unfortunately experienced by you or by others. But as somebody who has experienced these and more, we learn and we grow from them. Yes, some sting more than others, but it's like, okay, so how can I learn from these situations or experiences that I've been in or had? And how can I share with others and hopefully safeguard them from having similar experiences? But really, it's about choosing a mentor, healer, or facilitator that is an act of self-love. And by remaining discerning, you can reclaim your power and ensure that your spiritual growth is rooted in integrity and mutual respect. And remember, a true guide uplifts, supports, and empowers you to trust yourself and your own journey. So tune into and recognize these red flags to protect your energy and align with people and spaces who honor your sacred path. So I really hope that you've taken something from this. And yeah, I know it can be super controversial, but I think, again, the more awareness we bring to this space and hopefully self-regulate it. And remember, nobody is perfect. And we all carry this responsibility to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And we won't ever be everyone's cup of tea, but as long as we are staying true to ourselves and our values and our ethics and leading from the heart and not leading from the ego, and constantly reflecting on mistakes and are we staying true to ourselves? This helps to minimize the carnage and the backlash. And, asking the questions and asking where this person is coming from and what their experience is. And don't be afraid to question whatever it is that they are sharing. And of course, remain humble, know your worth, and speak up and speak your truth. And when we stray into those spaces of ego or manipulation or greed, we just don't compromise our work, but it's really important that we are able to trust those who we guide and guide us. So continue to lead with your heart, and I really hope that this has shed some light on your own healing journey, and again, how we can create these safe and sacred spaces in order to heal, because we need guides, mentors, facilitators, healers, and we need sacred spaces. So the more discerning and integral we can be creates that commonality between others. So I would love to hear from you if this was helpful, and if there's any other topics you would like me to cover. And please, if you feel called to share your own experience, or you can always reach out to me privately. But until next time, stay heart-centered and aligned. I'm sending you so much love. Namaste.
Thank you for listening. If you're looking for more, don't forget to check out the Rose Code community in the description below.